Shortly. In economy class, a variety of freshly made meals and selection of drinks is available for purchase. If you pre-order the meal before the flight,
Good morning, friends. Welcome to Connect to Florida. But you know what? We're not in Florida today. I'm in my home state. I flew in late last night. I am tired, so I need this black coffee. But I flew in late last night because at the last minute, I decided that I wanted to go to the Blue Angels show. You know what I'm talking about? So the Spirit of St. Louis Airport, it's a really small airport. That's not the main airport. The main airport is Lambert. But the Spirit of St. Louis is a small airport, and they do the air show, you know, with the fancy flying and all that. So I definitely wanted to go to that. So anyway, I'm in my home state, and I'm going to show you here real quick in the interest of adding to my vlogs. I'm going to show you what I'm making. This is going to cook all day. This is sirloin steak or roast or whatever you want to call it. Sirloin steak, I think they call it. If you have trouble with having meat get tender, I'm telling you, this is the easiest recipe ever. So in the crock pot, on low for about 8 hours or on high, usually for 4 hours or so. Salt, pepper, I put a little olive oil in the bottom, and a whole jar of pepperoncinis. Just dump them in there and let it go. It will be tender, falling apart. I'm out doing a walk and talk with you guys today. I never do that. You know why? Because I always think I'll go out of breath. Especially when I'm in my home state like I am right now. Because there's a lot of hills. So we're not fancy today. I'm on my camera phone. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you probably can behind me. I showed you in the winter these roads were all being replaced from really bad ice just tearing up the roads. So now they are replaced. Today I thought we would talk about the reasons that a person would want to snowbird instead of move to Florida full time, and not financial reasons. We're going to talk about other reasons outside of that. So I thought I would take a walk with you while I'm in my hometown and share with you the reasons that I choose to. I don't snowbird because obviously my very full-time career is in Florida as a real estate agent, but why I choose to go home a lot. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Try to have you walk to the park with me. Looks like it's trash day. That is one of the things that I hate when people come into town to look at houses. I don't like to show houses on trash day. I know that's stupid, but you know, the trash cans are all lined up and down. I don't know. I just don't like it. Anyway, I'm going to try to go down to the park and show you what that looks like. We looked at that in the winter, the last time I did a video when I was in my hometown. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when it is not winter. Well, I may not be able to show you the park because it looks like there's a lot of people there. Hold on, let me flip. Yeah. So there's lots of people down there playing, but this is one of the things that I do miss is the tall trees. So it's obviously off season right now. And most of us, most real estate agents, and not just real estate agents, but also, people that live in Florida, a lot of people go to their hometown when it's summer because of this. All the kids are out, grandkids are out. All right, we'll see if we can find a quiet spot somewhere. All right, so here's the park. Remember last time I showed this to you? It was full of ice and snow. Let's look at the creek. Last time, I want to say it was frozen. Isn't that pretty? Very, very sunny, so I don't know how good that's showing. Or if you can hear it. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We will walk, and I'll try to avoid hills. So, big reason that I come back to my home state a lot, and a reason that you might want to snowbird and at least keep a home in your home state, even if you're just renting it. A thought would be that maybe you need the money outside, you need the sale of your property in whatever, Michigan or wherever it is. You might need that money to buy a home in Florida. So if there's enough money, you might be able to just rent a place, small place, when you go back to your home state, or have something that you've done an annual rental on. That works out really good for a lot of people. So big pull for me is my kids and my grandkids. If you have your entire family living in your home state, what you'll find is a lot of times when you're enjoying yourself in Florida, you will wish they were there with you. And the truth is, they just can't come as often as you want them to because you're retired and they aren't. That's what ends up happening. And when they do have vacation time, sometimes they might want to go to Disney or somewhere different. Maybe they want to go to Aruba. I don't know. So one of the big reasons that I come back to my home state is to see my adult kids and, of course, my grandkids. Now, you might be one of those grandmas that, maybe your adult kids are really successful. They also travel. Maybe their kids, your grandkids, are older. Maybe they really, really have their own life, and now you want to have your own life. I hope it's a squirrel and not a snake. That'd be bad. So sometimes that plays a part, but for me, I'm very, very close with my grandkids, so I go to everything. I go to all the games. I will fly to wherever they are, and that's part of my life. That is what I enjoy. That might not be you, but for me, that's one of the reasons that I bounce into my hometown a lot. Another reason is that myself and my husband, we both have an aged mother that needs a little bit of help. Kevin's mother is in the house, that they've had for 50 years, but my mom, she's in one of those independent living kind of places, so she does really well. She doesn't really need much help, but I like to pop into town to check in on that. And then another thing is that I do keep a house in my hometown, so guess what? Maintenance. I have to worry about the air conditioning, the roof, the hot water heater, all of those things. You need to come and check in on it time to time. Make sure the people you hire to cut the grass are cutting the grass. that is definitely a responsibility for sure to come home and check in on all of those things. So that's another reason that I have to come to my hometown from time to time. We're into the back of the neighborhood now. Very, very quiet back here. Here's a little landing where sometimes I can find deer hiding out here. And make sure I'm looking down at my feet, because I don't want to run into any Mr. Snakes. So obviously very different here. They need year-round maintenance when you've got snow and all of those things. So another kind of weird thing that maybe, ooh, do you hear the owl? I don't know if you could hear that. There was an owl. Another reason you may not have thought of, but this is kind of a weird one that I always think about, is that I want to stay close to my family. I want to stay in touch with my family. You guys hear that? It's an owl. Anyway, I want to stay close to my family because, you know, I am inches to 60. I'm 58 years old, and I just am really starting to think about the next 10 years. I'm really starting to think about the next 10 years and what happens if, God forbid, you know, one of my very, very close friends had a stroke. She's the same age as I am, and she had a stroke about a month ago. And I think about that, you know, like, what if I needed a lot of help? Would I want to be in Florida, or would I want to be where my kids and grandkids are? Would they want me to be around, or would they be like, we don't know her anymore? So when I've done videos like this, similar to this in the past, one of the things that I always bring up is that you have to factor in when you get older, like when you get into your 80s, 90s, a lot of times the family will want you to go back to the home state so they can help take care of you. And maybe you're in good shape. Maybe you're 80 years old, you live the Florida life, you're super healthy, you're loaded up on vitamin D, sunshine, and happiness. But the family wants you to come home because they know that people don't live to be 150, you know, like they used to. So even if you're healthy, they want you to come home. They want as many good years with grandma or grandpa as possible. Sometimes it's kind of nice if you kept your home. Maybe you'll get something new. Maybe you'll go to like an independent living like where my mom is. The one where my mom is absolutely fabulous. So anyway, if you break all ties, and I've heard this before where people have said, well, you know, to be honest, me and my third wife, we moved to Naples and I lost track of everybody, and now here I am, 94 years old. I've been on listing appointments like this. I want to sell the house because I got a cancer diagnosis, but I don't know anybody in my home state, and my wife died in Naples. You know, you don't really want to be in that position.